getting up around 5 o'clock, finishing off your routine like 6 to 7, whatever it is, and getting prepared for the kids and send them to the school. All those things you have to plan, and you have to stick to it. If you don't stick to it, it's not going to work. I know a lot of people are so ingrained into the sport and training, they start giving up the other side. They don't notice it. It's going to be harmful for the relationship. If you have only 5 hours training in a week, you don't have to target Ironman race, but you can always do something different. The same triathlete routine, like you can focus it for a sprint triathlon or a half Ironman distance, we can still do it.
He's a runner, he's a cyclist and a triathlete. He's an Ironman Certified Coach. He has a certification in nutritional science from Stanford. He is one of the fastest Ironman triathletes in his age group with a sub-10 full Ironman and age group podium places in races across all distances. He is a 3-time Kona Qualifier. He has a sub-10 hour effort in Kona, which is considered one of the toughest courses there is. He's part of an 8-rider team that won the race across America, also RAAM. If all this makes him sound like a full-time athlete, he is not. He is a working athlete. He's a computer science techie working and living in New Hampshire region in the US. Not just that, he's an amazing baker. He has done a course on sourdough bread baking. He has a hobby of beekeeping. He also maintains a home garden. So let's talk to him and find out how he does it all. Welcome to the Working Athlete Podcast, Subbu. It's a pleasure having you here on the show.
Thank you, Venkatesh. It's an honor.
So let's start with the most obvious question, Subbu. Have you always been physically active?
I would say yes. It's like I'm not structured. I mean, whatever I do things, it was random. Okay. Typical Indian street growing kid. There is no structure for me. There is nothing organized. Just jump in the group and start doing things, whatever they do. Pick up the seasonal sport or pick up the seasonal activities. If my friends say, let's go play marbles, I would be going there to play with them. Or if they ask me to play cricket, I'll do that. Yeah. So whatever it happens. But I always used to be active. I choose to stay outdoors more than indoors.
Okay. Where was this? Where did you grow up?
I was born and brought up in Bangalore.
Okay.
And I grew up in Tin Factory, I would say.
Okay.
I would say near Tin Factory, sorry.
Yeah.
It's about a kilometer from the bus stop, I would say, where when I was living up there, it was totally empty spaces, not many apartments. I can see pretty much like 1 kilometer from my home. If my mom is walking from the work, that I can run into the house and stay hide before she walks into the house and not scolding.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of place I grew up. But now it's all congested and a lot of concrete buildings.
Yeah, the most
so
busy.
Pretty much it was in Tin Factory. I was born and brought up there.
Okay. So when did you get into sport as such, like running, say?
Well, like I said, I was always active. There was a time period when things changed, like becoming active person to becoming most not doing any active, like things, getting into the school, preparing for engineering, and all those things came into the life. and I all of a sudden stopped doing everything that I was doing it.
Okay.
And then, so what happened was like I joined engineering, I gained some weight, and then after joining my first job in Kolkata, I gained significant amount of weight, like almost from 70 kgs to 85 kgs within a year.
Okay.
Um, that is a time was a little bit depressing for me. Things did not go as I planned. And then I said something I want to do come out of this situation, and I started back running. Like, all I want to do is consistently run. Don't take any break. Just run for 3 months and see how it goes. So 2004 August is when I started running again to lose some weight on me.
Okay. So 2004, you started running, and
Yeah.
and you kept consistently running. Did it
Yes.
help lose weight?
It did. It did help weight. It made me come down from, like, say, 85 kgs to 70 kgs, like within 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a little bit aggressive. I was also aggressive on it. I chased behind it. My whole goal was at the time was losing weight and staying in the groove, like not to break the rhythm. That was my goal. I wasn't totally focused on 100% after losing weight to 70 kgs was not the weight, but now it's become more of not breaking the rhythm for me.
Okay.
That has become a challenge to keep
Right.
up.
Uh-huh. But were you able to manage that, not break the rhythm?
I did. The way I kept things were really interesting for me because I recognized what was my problem was. My biggest problem was getting up early and doing things. There was a days when I started before this, all the weight loss losing program was started. The biggest problem was I had this routine where I get up around 5 o'clock, run, and come back, and that 5 o'clock getting up and sleep deprivation was lasted only so long. It was kind of discouraging. So I decided, instead of doing this, why don't I extend my sleep a little longer and not make a habit that 5 o'clock getting up is so discouraging, making up like usual sleep, get my enough sleep, at the same time go out and do things. So I sacrificed that. I gained extra 1 hour of sleep, which did not demotivate me. At the same time, I also had a routine like run 2 days, take 1 day break, run 2 days, take 1 day break. So the taking a 1 day break was also kind of a motivator to me, which kept me going. And that lasted me for almost a year. And after a year, it became a fear. Like if I don't run, it becomes I'll gain that weight again. So that's the only one. Even today, I have that fear, and I still continue doing
Okay. That fear is a motivator, so to speak.
it. Yeah.
And so you went back to sleeping, an hour extra than what used to be. But whenever you woke up, you went and did that run.
Right.
Okay.
Because I was sleeping well enough, and I did not feel like sacrificing my run now. So there was things. This sleep thing. Like I said, getting up 5 o'clock can last only so long. When it comes to the winters, you sort of like, oh, this is so cold. I don't want to get up and go 5 o'clock. Kind
Right.
of that's discouraging. So what happens is 1 week you go off not running, and then it becomes a habit that not to do things.
Right.
I did not give a chance to the weather to dominate me. So whenever it was warm enough for me to, that was the threshold, like 6:30 time,
Yeah.
6:30 to 6:40 was my nice time to run, whether it is a winter, whether it is a summer, it was pleasant. So I managed to sneak and run every day. And I kept it going without taking break for after 3 months breaking up. It did not happen to me.
Yeah. Basically, you made it sustainable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. So when did this cycling start?
Cycling was, that's interesting. Cycling, uh, I mean, of course, when I was living in India, I always used to do everything. Like I used to commute to school with the bicycle. Uh, Back then, I did not have that skills of racing or riding or whatever like a structure that wasn't there in India for me.
Yeah.
When I moved to US, I could see, I live in the suburbs. I see many people riding in front of my house on the racing bicycles and everything. So I got a glimpse of what it looks like and how it looks like. I always had in my mind that I want to do a ride. I mean, I wanted to ride bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I ended up getting one cross bike.
Okay.
Okay, I did not know what is road bike and the cross bike means.
Right.
Whatever the word that is cheap, I just wanted to buy it. So I ended up buying a cross bike, what we can back then to just have fun and ride it. However, what made it really a habit was to pick it up more aggressively is that when I moved to US, I was hiking and running in the backyards. I came across, I mean, I got somehow a tick bite from the tick bite. I didn't which notice it, which become a Lyme disease in my.
Hmm.
So that Lyme disease stopped me from completely running because what happened was I ended up building the swellings on my joints.
Okay.
So my knee started hurting. I couldn't run. So I thought, let me continue more cycling at least to keep all my weight gain off. So that become more habit and started riding more and more and structurally, and I got addicted to it. So now it became both cycling and running. And of course, I saw a doctor and they gave me antibiotics. Within 12 days, it started coming back. And I mean, of course, I mean, whatever the Lyme disease have made, it will be there in my system for another 1 year to 2 years. I couldn't do much, but I was doing still running moderately.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, I was just doing these things not for any particular reason, just for keeping my fitness. That's it.
Okay.
So cycling has become part of my life after that.
So this was when did you move to the US?
I moved US 13 years ago, exactly this time, 2007.
2007. So you started in like 2004, started running in 2004, and kept the habit going.
Right.
Did it go till so it continued by the looks of it till you went to the US and you continued running there?
Right, right. I mean, my habits never broke.
Yeah.
After once I started in 2004, nothing stopped me
Mm-hmm.
from breaking out the habit of. I mean, again, I wasn't running that long either. To me, the goal was to do every day and take a break. That is like 30 minutes every day run.
Okay.
And I used to control how I eat and what I eat and things like that. That has also helped me out to lose the weight. And so whatever I did not go extreme that discourages me from doing things. So my habit continued. And before moving to US, I went for yoga lessons too. Like for 3 months, I took a yoga lessons. I don't know what's going to be coming up in US.
Right.
Uh, so I thought I would take a 3 months yoga class that I can continue up there coming
Mhm.
back up here.
Okay.
That also helped me out to continue my routines.
Nice, nice. So, when did you and how did you get into triathlon?
Ah, interesting. Triathlon thing was a very interesting comeback. There are multiple stories to it. I mean, say what happened when I first moved to Massachusetts. Um, I was just doing running I mean, just running.
Mhm.
And eventually I cultivated habit because I moved into suburbs here in this house, and I started seeing all the people riding and everything. And this is where I picked up Lyme disease and started biking here. And I also have a friends who did triathlon. They always used to tell me about it. And my first introduction to triathlon was Ironman World Championship by on the television, raced by few senior citizens and Hoyt's family. Have you heard of them?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So they were the first introduction to me how the things have been done. But even before that, a friend of mine was doing the triathlon. So he was the first a person who put in my mind about the triathlon. But the experience I got it is from the television, watching this Ironman World Championship of 2007. Hoyt's family was there, part of it, I think. And then that kind of put me into my mind, but I did not know how to start it. Because I don't know how to swim then.
Right.
So I did not pursue about it for almost 2 to 3 years. I did not want to do it because I don't know how to swim. I was, I wouldn't say intimidated, but also at the same time, I don't know swim. I don't know who can teach me. And I was a little bit discouraged that if somebody laughs at me what I do, I get discouraged very easily.
Right.
So those are the things were going on in my mind. So I did not pursue it. And then all this Lyme disease, cycling, everything came. Now I was doing biking and running. At the gym, I have a friend who also cyclists. He told me, "You look like a triathlete. Why don't you give a shot?" That's what he said. All right, it's a time to think about it. After 2 years, after watching triathlon and everything. And then after 2 years, I was in a Thanksgiving dinner. There was this article about father and daughter going for an Ultraman championship in Kona. I read all the entire article about it, and I learned from that article that the girl who is going to do Ultraman, she also started swimming just about 32 years old she was. That's when she started. All right, this sounds like me, where I'm 30 now, 32, 31. If somebody can do it like this, maybe I can also do it.
Right.
So that Thanksgiving 2011 was an eye opener for me to start taking seriously about swimming. And all this friends encouraging me, and this article, it's more encouraging. I said, all right, I'm going to do a triathlon now. Let's see how it goes. That's when I decided to join the gym and take a personal classes for the swim classes. And everything started coming back slowly, and not as bad as I thought when I first started swimming, that people will discourage me. In fact, people were very encouraging. And I started getting into this triathlon swimming, like what I did 5 years ago. 8 years ago for running. I did the same thing for swimming in here.
Right.
I mean, if I stop, I'll break. So find the sweet spot which works for you and work on it. So I continued for 3 months and 4 months. Things were coming back slowly, and I followed every book. The most important thing that helped me out for me back then was the swim lesson online. Oh, I completely forgot what it is. Total Swim.
Okay.
I think Total Immersion. Sorry.
Total Immersion. Yeah.
Good book. And using the fins and helping me out to get going was a good advice in that. That's where I followed things and started connecting very well. And I was happy to do whatever the swim I was doing and build on from there. So I was staying consistently into it.
Right.
That's
So
how the triathlon started in 2012 for me.
2012. So 2012 was your first triathlon event? What was?
Yes. 2012 was first for many things. 2012 was my first real year when I started racing also. I used to run all this time, but I never thought about racing.
Okay.
So 2012, my first race was half marathon. I did in the beginning of the May. That was my first race, and the
Hmm.
2012 was my first triathlon event in July, a sprint event,
Okay.
which happens locally here for us.
Yeah.
And 2012 is when my first Olympic distance, and 2012 is when my first half distance too.
Half distance too.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So I built it up in order. Like I started 2012 with a sprint distance in July. August was my Olympic distance, and September was my half distance. I already built an endurance for everything except the swim. Swim was the one which was discouraging to me.
Correct.
It all happened with the right people around me.
Awesome. Awesome. So, were you talking of right people? Were you part of any club or something
Um,
at that point?
I mean, I was part of the club.
Okay.
I mean to say, this uh, when I was swimming, one of my friends, even today we have in contact, she said, "Oh, you should. I mean, you're a beginner. You may be worth trying these people." Back then, they used to call Tri-Heat.
Okay.
Now they changed the name to Seacoast Synergy. So that was my introduction to the group people, and I participating all their activities, and I also took a coaching from them. It was really nice group of people, and they introduced me for many things, which set a nice foundation for many other things today.
Yeah. Definitely having like-minded people who are
Right.
following a structure definitely helps, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Great.
again, they did not push me too hard either. I mean, which was a good thing.
Yeah.
They were, it's always was in the a nice place
Mhm.
where you don't get discouraged, whatever you do. At the same time, they also encouraged you identifying your good things. It was a nice place to begin with.
Mhm.
And they introduced me to this current coach whom I'm working with. He's a pro cyclist, mountain biker, and he was part of the some cycling team
Mhm.
back in his days. He's same age, but back in his days, it's like when he was 26, 27.
Right.
So he was riding for a team, and till today, he's my coach, and he's the best one for me. I mean, because we have a nice understanding.
Right.
They introduced me to him, and since then, I stuck with them. So all good things came from that group, I would say.
Great, great. So in 2012, you did sprint and Olympic distance and half. So when did the jump to Ironman distance happen?
So what happened was 2012. Uh, I was training and racing all with the uh, basic utilities or basic equipments.
Whatever you
Nothing
had.
fancy, no trial bike, no tri bike, no nothing. Just a aero bar with a road bike doing things. So a few of my friends encouraged me because I got in half distance. I did like around 5:08 something, 5 hours 8 minutes.
Wow.
So I was shy of 8 minutes for a sub five,
Was this
and
was this your in your first one?
yeah. My
Wow.
first one 5 hours 8 minutes. So I was pretty close to breaking 5 hours, and they identified that as like a strength in me. I may be doing even better if I had a tri bike, if I had a good training and everything. So at the end of the season, we all joined to this winter indoor training classes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that is the one I was talking about, my cycling coach.
Right.
We all did indoor training classes, and it was motivating. We did pretty well. And after, of course, you I you have a bunch of triathletes sitting together Saturday morning after a ride indoor classes. You have nothing else but talking about only triathlon, doing Ironman distance, and talk about things that you don't want to hear. You shouldn't be hearing, but you hear things. Okay,
Yeah.
and experiences. Back then, I was just upcoming triathlete, and this guy called Joe Gorfinkel, who lives in Lake Placid. I mean, part of the time he has a house there, so he knows Ironman organizers very well there. He said, since you're training anyway for F, why don't you do it Ironman? Oh God, this is what I should be hearing, right?
Right.
Those kind of things I get carry over. It's like I can't say no. At the same time, I don't want to be hooked up into these things. But somehow we were having a coffee, and he said, "Think about it. Let me know what it is." And all right, I'll think about it. And by the end of December, he came up with a slot with a regular price. Back then in 2012 and 2010 and everything, Ironman Lake Placid closes like this.
Yeah.
So there was no slots. There wasn't many upcoming races. I mean, what I would say is Ironman did not had many races back then. They had very, very few. And Lake Placid is one of the legacy races and used to close very quickly, because what happens is it's only race up in the northeastern region. There was no Mont Tremblant back then, so it used to flow. And when I wanted to sign up or whatever it is, it was all closed. But this guy lives in Lake Placid, and he had some organization about Lake Placid residents have a slots, something.
Yeah.
So he said, I still have it if you want to take it. And by end of December, I gave him some kind of yes, AF answer, I would say.
Right.
Which I got a confirmation within a week saying that you're in, now you have no choice. So there you go. I jumped into full Ironman within a year.
Yeah.
My plan was to do better in the AF. I ended up doing it.
Okay.
2013 Ironman Lake Placid was my first Ironman race.
2013. Yeah, within a year of starting triathlon.
Yeah, 2012 was big adaptation to a triathlon thing.
Correct. Yeah.
And getting to know what people are doing and how they are training and everything.
Yeah.
2013 was the jump to full Ironman. Of course, the one advantage living in Northern Hemisphere is that I mean, if you think about racing and everything, you won't be doing immediately, because we have such a long winters and long summers and whatever it is. So the races are always at the end of the year, I would put it that way.
Yeah.
So I had almost 7 months to prepare for it, because I was already been doing it at half distance. So I had to build my endurance a little bit more. So I had 7 months to build for Lake Placid.
So that was what, July 2013 or something?
July to the 2013. That's
Okay.
when the Lake Placid race was happening. So I think it must be July 27th or 28th, sometime like that.
Nice. Okay. So what was the big change in terms of training for various distances, right? So you came
Right.
from sprint to Olympic to half. So was the transition easy from one to the other in terms of training?
The transition for me was pretty much easy. I always believed that I am more of a long distance guy than a short distance guy. So to me, back then, I honestly did not had any kind of skills how to train for sprint triathlon, how to train for I don't know how to train for Ironman. It was just, to me, was finishing was the goal. So just building the endurance is my ultimate goal back then. The speed, there was, I learned about structure things a little bit from my the group that they started me the triathlon.
All right.
How to do intervals and everything, but that was not the biggest influence that I had unless 2013, when I did the indoor training with this guy, what exactly the bike intervals will look like, what exactly the run intervals will look like. So that gave me some idea, but still that was not the enough for me to target for a speed at the Ironman distance. To
Mm-hmm.
me, it was all about first experience should be a good experience. So just finish up the distance, because I haven't finished any marathon back then. I
Right.
never finished any 100 miles bike ride. I used to do only 56 miles, something like that. So it was a big jump. Mentally for me was all about finishing the distance. It's like not targeting any speed or anything, nothing specific. Week by week, just go and do some boring workout. And the weekday, I used to follow this same intervals, like, because I was working full time too. I didn't have much time. So I had this weird idea about saying that, oh, okay, if you can do a fast interval, you can do in the weekday, you somehow you can extend your weekends for the long distance. It's fine, you will be able to survive it. That's how I structured my program back then.
Okay.
So I had in the weekday maximum I used to spend 1.5 hour just riding or running hard.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing specific to like building up my VO2 or building my threshold or nothing like that. I did not had that kind of scientific reasoning behind it.
Okay.
Just ride hard, just run hard, and keep nice and easy at the long distance. That's enough.
Were you not working with that coach back then, at that time?
No, I did only. It was just an introduction to him. I wasn't having any coach the first year,
Okay.
because of course I have to take care of some finances and everything. Also, I did
Absolutely.
not. I was too skeptical about spending $200 to $300 back then
Mm-hmm.
about the coach. Is this how much is coach? It's all shocking to me. I wasn't thought this is
Absolutely.
going to be expensive sport. This is how it'll be, and it'll come such a handy in future. I did not know back then, and
Right.
of course, I did not had that experience of spending too much also back then. So it was all shocking to me. I
Cor-
have to be a little conservative about it.
Correct.
Eventually, I said, okay, this is becoming more of a lifestyle. Why don't I invest
Yeah.
in the right person, right amount of money if it works out?
Yeah.
That's when 2014 and 2015 started coming up.
Okay.
2014, I had a different coach. For proper triathlete coach.
Mm-hmm.
But then 2013, I did not have any coach.
Okay.
I still was in the same group I was working with.
Okay. But what was your timing for the first full Ironman?
For first full regimen, like I said, weekly we increase the volume with the bike and run, and keep anything like threshold to steady state effort like that during the week.
Mm-hmm.
So during the week, I used to do maximum 2 hours a day,
Right.
nothing much. And also, I downloaded some training from online beginners triathlete program,
Mm-hmm.
and I followed that structure a little bit too close by, and
Okay.
that's how I executed it. And I had this team that I was working with in the first year. I
Right.
was still training with them,
Yeah.
so they used to give me a little bit of idea. Oh, you should increase volume like this. You should increase volume like that. And
Mm.
so they were giving me inputs at the same time.
Okay. And how much did you manage to do in terms of finishing time?
Uh, like it went average 10 hours a week in the beginning, like in December, January, and ended up building up to all the way to 16 hours to 17 hours. I did not do much
Yeah.
training. Uh, I thought this should be enough. If you're training by yourself, there is a way to convince yourself saying no sometimes.
Yeah.
So my longest ride that I did was 117 miles, and with a lot of breaks, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Because the group that I was training with, what we decided was we go up to Mount Massachusetts, right up there, and they picked me up too. And then on the way back, instead of coming back in the car, I decided to ride back. So
Okay.
that covered about 117 miles, which gave me good confidence. And then my longest run was 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, after a long ride.
Yeah.
That was my peak week that I did.
Hmm.
I regret that I should have had a coach, and I should have done more training
Right.
back then, which I did not do it.
Yeah. But did you manage to finish comfortably, or you struggle? How was that experience in the race itself?
My only struggle came was at the bike. I went way too hard in the beginning. I didn't. I mean, because Ironman is such a. Um, I mean, Ironman venues are such encouraging things. At times, you don't pace very well when you see the crowd and encouraging you. You try to show off yourself, or you either gonna go hard, like so much energy up in the owl, I would say,
Right.
and that's where we transition and everything. So I mean, it was also pretty fast moving. I
Mm-hmm.
did not know how hard I was going on the bike. It's a pretty hilly course. I did not simulate that hilly course while I was training
Mm-hmm.
here.
Yeah.
And so after 90 miles, I paid off pretty badly.
Okay.
It was a struggle to finish last 15 miles. I mean, I was up to that point, I was doing like 5 hours, 30 minutes something, or 5 hours, 25 minutes for, I mean, the pacing for the bike, 112 miles. And it gave me such a big struggle that I had to struggle so much because the headwind picked up in the second half, and I ended up doing like 5 hours 40 minutes for 112 miles.
Wow.
What happened was, it's not finishing the bike. When I came into a transition, I actually wanted to sit and lay down a little bit. That's
Right.
how I felt. I took a long transition,
Uh,
almost 10 to 15 minutes.
okay.
I literally closed my eyes,
Yeah.
and then I started running for the marathon, which turned out to be the best marathon for any time that I did. It ended up becoming 3 hours 40 minutes something.
Wow. So that was your first marathon distance
That is my first marathon distance. Yeah,
at the end of an Ironman.
at the end of the Ironman, that was my first marathon, and that was my first marathon distance. Yeah,
Wow. Wow. So what was the finish time? Do you remember?
10 hours 58 minutes. Yeah.
Wow. Still not bad.
It's not bad. Even if I take away all the long transitions out of my
Right.
thing, I would have been like 10 hours, 40 minutes. My
Yeah.
target was 10 hours, something was there. I mean, because uh, my goal was to beat anything 11 hours. The way the group I was in, the other group, that the bunch of triathletes staying in
Yeah.
one place,
Yeah.
because this is my first triathlon, and they said this is all illy course, so be conservative about that energy and everything. So they said try your best to go um, close to 11 hours, or probably somewhere you'll be there. So they said I want to beat 11 hours time, and I made it. Sure, it
Yeah.
happened.
Nice. So that was a pretty good first Ironman, and that too training on your own and
Yeah.
everything. Um, that was great. So how did the next couple of years, like 14 and 15, go in terms of triathlons?
14 and 15 went pretty well. I changed my, I mean, I did Lake Placid 2013. So, and everybody was raving about 2000. I mean, everybody was raving about Mont Tremblant, Canada,
Hmm.
which is pretty good course. Of course, it is a very nice course. So I decided, let me change the course and see what happens with the Canada race. 2014, I hired a coach who did this Ironman thing, and he was a triathlete, and they were known big time back then. So he's part of the coaching group called Breakthrough for Performance Coaching.
Hmm.
So I train under them, and I mean, it was pretty structured, and it was very well given program. I liked it, and that was my first introduction to real triathlon coaching, personal coaching, I would say.
Mhm.
And I saw how organized the structured programming was, and what are the things they were doing, and how they are targeting for each month and each section for everything, like building up the volume, the race-based training, and those things they were included for me.
Okay.
So that set a pretty good tone for my upcoming year, I would say. And I did pretty well, I would say. I did like 10 hours, 14 minutes at Mont Tremblant, Canada. So it almost like I break, I mean, that is like almost 30 minutes
40,
to 40 minutes per.
yeah, 40 minutes better. Yeah,
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. And I had a very good bike there. I did 5 hours, 20 minutes cycling and 3 hours, 26 marathon. My swimming was still far, far behind. I wasn't even close to getting under I mean, 1 hour, 20 minutes is what I was swimming back then. It's
Okay.
still way laid back. And I came around probably 12th place or 14th place in that race.
In your age group?
Yeah. Oh, maybe not. Somewhere far behind, 10 hours, 14. I think the following year, when I got 12th or 14th, I guess, 2015 is a big year. That's when
Okay.
I broke 10 hours, sub 10 by 1 second.
Wow. So, so 2014 was Montreal,
Yeah, Mont Tremblant, yes.
Montreal Blanc, Ironman, and
Mm.
after that, in 2015, you joined your current coach. You were saying.
Yes, 2015, the way the transition happened was like in 2015, I was doing the same indoor training every winter.
Hmm.
And when we were doing indoor training, I joined one more group called Port Racing Team. Now, I came out of the Seacoast Synergy and joined the other team, Port Racing. They are really strong athletes. And that club I'm still connected with that club right now, I would say. That club also started doing indoor training, and they were strong athletes. And as we all know each other, that the cycling coach and everyone, and they said they're going to put a team for RAAM,
Okay.
and the cycling coach is going to be coaching everyone, he said. They said. So instead of joining the triathlon coach now, I decided, okay, now they are recruiting team and they wanted someone like who wants to do RAAM. And so they asked me if I want to join. I said, yes, I'll join you guys.
Nice.
I decided joining them, and I started training. And I took now because it's a RAM, I need a very specific cycling specific training rather than triathlon coaching. I decided to switch to Philip, his name is, and he started coaching me for a RAM. And yeah, the journey began for RAM training, and we did a really good training. I had some, setbacks in that race. I mean, not race, before on the training with the crash and everything. 2 weeks before the race, I got crashed on the bike. I had a significant hard crash, broken shoulders and everything.
Uh,
I managed to finish the RAM somehow.
So 2 weeks before RAM,
Yes.
you had an accident that you broke your
I mean, I
clavicle and
didn't break
stuff.
the collarbones or anything, but
Hmm.
my shoulders are still shocked with broken, and I had a broken, nice wiped out face is all scratched up and
Okay.
everything.
Okay.
I was not in the position to stay in the hero position and everything.
So how did that happen now? What was the accident?
Yeah, we were doing a RAM simulation actually.
Okay.
What happened was when we were doing a RAM simulation, which means like we were exactly training the way it's supposed to go on the race day,
Hmm.
like time trialing 15 miles or 15 minutes time trial, and hand off to another person, and he picks it up, something like that. The way we did was when we when we simulated that, what the goal is in the RAM, when you do a transition, my front wheel should be exactly the back wheel of the cyclist. So only then he can start picking it up.
Yeah.
If we don't cross, my first front wheel doesn't cross his back wheel, that is not tagging
Right.
concept.
Yeah.
So we were practicing this kind of movement. And what happened was the guy who was in front, I was now coming back my turn, and I wanted to hand off my position. I was coming pretty fast. And when he wanted to get on the saddle, he wobbled like this. I wanted to be a little careful about escaping and running into him. I thought I would turn my bike a little bit right, and I didn't realize that it was a dirt. I was doing like 24 to 25 miles an hour. I jammed the brakes so fast, and I face planted it, and I rubbed my face, and the brake jamming the brakes so hard pulled my shoulders and everything. So I crashed really bad. I had a concussion for so long. I didn't realize where I was until I go into the hospital and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a bad crash.
Wow.
I survived it, and I wasn't sure I'll be doing RAM or not. After 1 week, I recovered pretty much, and I said, okay, I can still do it. And next week, I decided to go back and start training again.
Wow. So what is this? This was a 8-man, 8-rider team, right?
Yes, 8-man team training for RAM and racing RAM that
So
year.
how does this team RAM work?
The team RAM, like there are many teams in RAM, as you know, like 4-man team, 8-man team, 2-man team, and 1-man. Okay.
Solo, yeah.
Yeah. The 8-man team, the way we organized is, in the RAM, there is something called transition location, or we call it as like a time stations. Okay, the time stations are divided like about anywhere from 250 miles to 400 miles, something like that. They set up the time from California to Maryland. And the way my team organized it, we had a coordinator, and we were probably only 8 people were racing, but the entire team was around 25, I would say.
The support team is very important.
Yes. So we had vehicles organized. One is called a rider vehicle, and one is the support vehicle. The rider vehicle will be always behind the rider, and the support vehicle will be always in the front. Which the support vehicle is the one where we transition between the two athletes. So what we did was, in the 8-man team, we divided ourselves into two 4-people team.
Okay.
And the 4-man people team, one team will be working for one time station only. Like it can be 250 miles to anywhere from 300 miles. So the other team, when we are riding, the other team will be driving their car to the next time station. And
Right.
they were sleeping in the van, and partially they will sleep in the hotel. And when we finish ourselves, we go into change in the hotels and everything where they stayed in, and then we go and sleep in the next. We drive to the next time station, and then we sleep there, so
Right.
that these people are still riding.
Yeah.
They used to take. We used to take anywhere from 8 hours to 6 hours to 8 hours, depending on the time station. And so each time station was our transition time for the team.
Okay.
And each 10 miles is a transition for each athlete.
10 miles.
5 to 10 miles. Yeah,
Okay.
5 to 10 miles. Basically, it depends on the terrain.
Elevation and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
For example, when we were doing Colorado, which was all hills, we did like only 1K at a time, like 15 minutes time trial, go as hard as possible. Our goal was to be doing under 6 days.
Okay. Yeah.
The
race itself was what, 3,000 miles or something, right?
Right. It is a 3,000 miles, and
Yeah.
we wanted to do under 6 days. That's our goal was.
Yeah. So 500
And
miles a day kind of thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
And we ended up pretty much beating that 5 hours, 5 hours, 58 minutes, something. Sorry, 25 days, 23 hours, something we did.
Wow.
So we beat the time actually.
So
And it was pretty good time. I mean, very, very, very well organized, very well planned. The main reason was we had experienced coaches. I mean, I would say experienced director, race director for us. I
yeah.
mean, they do only RAM training and coaching for the people and supporting them. So they were really know what they were doing, and they planned very well with us and everything.
Yeah. So
So it was a good experience.
the planning and support crew and everything is very, very important in such a long race, right?
Yeah, I mean, that is a good experience for me. Why I do not want to go ultra distance anymore. it's it's the logistics
Yeah.
and the amount of people that you want. With my lifestyle, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like even if I want to think about doing ultraman, I wouldn't be doing it because of the same reason, because it's more than just a one person work. You need a
Yeah.
team,
So
you need to organize them, prepare things and everything. So I can't afford to do those things.
yeah.
And that was a good eye opener, and I decided to sit back.
Okay. So
And that is the same year I said, instead of doing a triathlon coaching, now I mean getting a triathlete coach, and I asked Phil Wong whether he can also put me a run training, and we did pretty well with doing that. He did cycling and running for me, and I took my own swimming.
okay, so let's cap off the RAM experience. So
Right,
you guys were doing like 15-minute efforts between time stations between four of you guys, and
right,
transitioning like that, and doing about 500 miles per day kind of thing.
right,
Convert
right.
500 miles into kilometers would be like what, 800 something?
Yeah, 800 kilometers, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's pretty incredible, and you guys managed to finish in 5 days, 23 or something, and
Right.
won that category.
We won our category, but I mean, our goal was to beat all the team. But
Yeah.
there was one professional team. They were extremely good. They were only 4 people,
Okay,
but they
so
beat us.
wow, that's
Yeah.
impressive. But
Yeah.
so overall, in all the teams, you were second.
Overall, I mean, I would say in the 8-man team, we were the winner. I mean,
Yeah,
in that category.
right.
But in the overall teamwork, probably we are second, I think,
Yeah,
because
okay.
the 4-man people were going for a record, setting the course record.
Uh-huh.
They are extremely pros. In their, I would say they were very, very, very well prepared. Like everyone used to ride hard.
Yeah,
Like they had time trial bikes with a disc wheel sets,
right.
and they were pretty good.
Yeah,
And also they were pro guys too. It's
yeah,
not like amateurs
yeah.
like us. They were pros.
Nice.
Mm.
Great. So that was an awesome experience. It must have been, and also decided something that you that told you that okay, it might not be for me at this stage of my life, and you decided to kind of stay with Ironman training and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think. I mean, the main discouraging to me it's a logistics.
right.
Uh, I don't know. It's worth for me to spend time and money
Yeah,
with the full time work having.
yeah.
That's not the direction I want to go. I want to have very consistent and reliable kind of things,
Something
activities.
sustainable.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
I don't
mantra.
want to be breaking my bank either.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So of course, it's a RAM is like I said, 12 days.
yeah.
You need to put a pressure on the people, sponsors, and the money you have to spend on it, and vehicles you need, uh, all those things. I don't know. it's worth for me or not.
Yeah. So now you moved to this coach, the cycling specific coach, and you said, "Can you do run training for me as well?" And started working with him after that.
Right.
That it's in
And
2015 after RAM.
after RAM, we continued coaching because he was coaching me for RAM. I
Yeah.
said, okay, now I have an Ironman coming up because the Ironman is only about over 8 weeks away from the RAM that I did.
Okay.
Back then, I wasn't doing much of I used to run, but not a lot. I used to do a lot of biking, but not swim, very, very less. So now I want to pick up everything where I left. And can we continue doing it? Can you add me a run? And he started adding me a run, and it was a pretty good program. I really liked it. So I ramped up pretty well for the upcoming Ironman race.
Okay. So how did that race go?
It was very, very impressive race. I broke 5 hours 10 minutes on the cycling. That was a big 10 minutes breakthrough for the bike. Like I did, like previous year, I did 5 hours 20 minutes on the same course, same time. I did now 5 hours 8 minutes with 2 minutes break or something like that because of the time penalty.
Right.
And then I had a pretty good run too the same year. Again, that is the year where everything setback in the beginning, and it was falling good in the right places, I would say.
Yeah.
Like 9 hours 59 minutes 59 seconds. I just made sub 10 that year. I
Wow.
don't know. It came out pretty well.
Yeah.
What else can be not motivating? Sub 10 hour, I broke it.
Yeah.
And,
So that this was your third full distance.
Ironman, yeah. Third
Third.
Ironman, I was sub 10. I was
Nice.
very happy for that.
Awesome. Good. So, was this your what was your first Kona qualifier?
So the first Kona qualifier is I went back to again racing Lake Placid,
Okay.
2016.
Right.
I do only one Ironman a year. I don't want to do too many Ironmans.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of things I have to take it into consideration: season, training, and fun, and keeping your expenses as affordable as possible and not go too much.
Right.
So 2016,
And work.
I
There is work also in between, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So 2016, I started back. I signed up for Ironman Lake Placid.
Uh-huh.
I took Phil Wong now become my permanent coach for everything.
Yeah.
And I had a swim separately, which I was taking too.
Mm-hmm.
So went back again, started coaching there. Because what happens, we have a pretty good season, like I said.
Right.
After the big race, we take a nice break and now start working on our go back to the fundamentals.
Right.
Because the season is shutting down. You can't do much outside. Daylight is short. You take the enough daylight time, whatever you get it, and practice whatever you want. So I tried to transition into doing cyclocross race during the winter, but it's not my kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I can do it, but my bike skills was pretty bad, and I didn't. I would also say I didn't had a right bike because whenever I was going downhill, it was pretty scary. That the brakes were not working properly. I didn't have a disc brakes.
Don't tell me you went there for with your tri bike for
No,
cyclocross.
that isn't going to happen. I had a cross bike back then too.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the right one, I would say. And my bike handling skills on the cross was not that great, even though I could run, but it was hard,
Yeah.
I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Someday I want to try it again, though,
Yeah.
because it's coming back again. Now season is shutting down.
Yeah.
We can try. Yeah, so I tried it, but it didn't work. And I started focusing my skills again, like swimming was my weakness. So I decided to work on it. The entire winter, we will be only training, but not racing for me.
Yeah. So
I
this
yeah.
Lake Placid, was in 2016. That
Right.
so the winter training and everything was leading up to that.
Exactly. So what I
Yeah.
do is during the season, when my season is always pretty consistently planned, like 1 year before. Like next year, I want to do this race. I'll
Mm-hmm.
be doing like in June this preparation race, and July I'll be racing the big key race. After the July, whatever happens is a different one.
Mm-hmm.
So the season for 2016 was planned like this. I wanted to do half Ironman in June, and then July I want to do Lake Placid. And in August I was also planned to do Mount Washington climbing race, and then whatever happens after that, it depends.
Right.
And based on that, like if I qualify for Kona, I'll go to Kona, in that kind of things. Okay,
Right.
based on that.
Yeah. So 2016 in Lake Placid, you qualified for Kona though.
Right. I came second in my age group and I got qualified. Lucky there wasn't much. I mean, the difference between the guy who won my age group and me was about 20 minutes. So there wasn't many key guys, I think, back then. They were all racing Mont Blanc.
Okay.
But 2017 was really competitive race, the same course.
Mm-hmm. And you
And
qualified there then as well?
yes, I did.
Okay. How did that go? What was the difference between the first guy and
So the
you?
2016 I qualified second at being in second place. I did my like 9 hours 50 minutes. Now going under 10 was becoming more common for me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now I want to better at it. Every time I want to go, I have to better at it.
Right.
So I qualified at second place to 9 hours 50 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following year, I did 9 hours 40 minutes. I
Wow.
came in third place.
Okay.
So that was the year where the first place came in 9 hours 26 minutes. The second place came in 9 hours 30 minutes something, and the fourth place was 9 hours 40 minutes. I had a pretty good chances of going 9:45, 9:35, but then I screwed up few things. Overtraining that year.
Okay.
So things didn't go well at the last 2 weeks before the race.
So you didn't taper well, or you trained too hard
Yeah,
or
I would
something?
say I didn't taper well. I would say I had
Okay.
some nutritional issues. I picked up the bug in the stomach, I would say.
Okay.
That is still hindering my performance even today.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, because whatever I had that time, the stomach issues, like I can't keep my food anymore in my stomach now.
Okay.
I injured my LES, I think. I don't know. I should still consult a doctor and see what's going on.
Okay.
So that was the year 2016. I qualified my first Kona race. Very exciting, very much fun.
Right.
So it was great.
Yeah. So you went to Kona that year?
I went to Kona. I
Okay.
raced Kona pretty much. One setback there was, I don't know what happened. My Di2 died
Okay.
on the bike course.
Right. Wow. No. So, um, so that was the initial years when DI2 was coming, I think. No.
Um, Probably, I would say 2 years
Before that. Yeah.
after I had it. I mean,
Okay.
Di2 was coming
Yeah.
in 2014, 2015, something.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
had it in 2016.
All right. So you died on the bike course, and
It died, yes.
and you was it like you couldn't shift for the hills or something?
Oh, so what happens is in the Di2, they have this reserved battery concept or something, whatever you call.
So
When battery is set in percent low, it won't shift in the front gear. It'll keep you in the small gear.
right.
And the coming down the Harvey, which is like super fast coming down, I ended up doing like everybody is doing like 35 miles an hour. I'm doing like 24 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So I lost significant amount of time there.
Okay.
And then I covered almost 90 miles, pretty much with a small gear, which was shifting on the backside at least.
Yeah.
And the last 20 miles, it did not shift at all. I was riding in single gear.
Yeah.
So all I did was like, whatever I got it, I used to do it. So I ended up finishing pretty late, like 5 hours, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, something, the bike.
Okay. Still not bad. And the
And
overall?
then overall, I did like 10 hours, 29 minutes.
Okay. You went over 10. You know?
Yes, I
Yeah.
did. I
That
went over 10.
must have been a disappointment at that time. Yeah.
A little
Yeah.
bit disappointment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was mostly to the due to the gearing issues and a little bit of
A
overtraining.
little bit of both in the climate also. I mean, every time I prepare for Kona, I'm not very well prepared.
Okay.
Every time I go there, I learn something new. I think I should be preparing very well.
Yeah.
And because I can't devote my time so much to do things the way
Yeah.
I want to do it. It's like if you're training and racing, I mean, if you want to do really, really, really well in Kona, you better off training there rather training here. I
Okay.
am when I train for Kona here, it's weather is like this, 50 degrees.
Yeah.
And when you go to Kona, it's like 89 degrees.
Right.
And I can't simulate that weather at all here.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Yeah. Completely different weather conditions. Yeah.
Right.
Very
And
hot and humid.
I
Hot
have to
and
get the nutrition right, the humidity right, and like hydration right, salt right. So many things can go wrong if I train here.
yeah. But you did manage to go sub 10 at Kona as well. When was it?
Yes, I did in 2019. That is last year.
Last year, we finally had a decent Kona, you would say?
I would say decent race, not my strong run, which is my strength.
Yeah.
But I'm still breaking in the run. I don't know why. I mean, after 2016, my runs are become a little bit. I mean, after 2017, my runs are becoming a little bit of falling apart for some reason. I can train and race hard. I mean, I can train hard for the same like I did in 2016 and 17, but somehow in the race it's not connecting. I don't know whether it is because I'm really going hard on the bike or really I'm going slow. Because both in 2019, I noticed that my runs are, I mean, my bike have significantly improved.
Okay.
I've been, I did like Boulder 450 something on the bike, and Kona I did 504. It's consistently coming down in terms of time, but run is going up by 10 to 15 minutes, which is not sure why. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take 1 year break and see and how it comes back, everything.
Okay. Okay. So what was the time in 2019, the Kona?
The Kona was 952, I think 952
Okay.
or 954, something like that.
So your best was 920
940.
940.
940.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
2017, that was my peak year was 2017, I would say.
Okay.
Everything was going so perfect, and all of a sudden everything went down.
After that stomach bug you were saying.
Yeah.
So let's segue into nutrition for
Yeah.
Ironman. It's quite a tricky thing, is what I understand from all of my triathlete friends. So how do you manage your nutrition for the training and racing?
So pretty much, I've been very, very consistent to me in terms of nutrition wise. I mean, I've been since I bonked in 2013. I have been working consistently about nutrition, I would say.
Mhm.
2013 is a good eye opener for me. What went wrong and how things are in my case. Uh, so what I'm doing is for every Ironman race that I do, I take about 300 calories per hour.
Okay.
and I drink significant amount of fluid with that. I mean, I make sure that the nutrition is very custom to me, and I don't take any nutrition on the course. That's my disadvantage. I've never trained the race course nutrition yet.
Okay, so you carry everything for you.
I pretty much carry 3 bottles on my bike and 2 bottles in the transition bag.
Okay.
I would say special needs bag.
Mm-hmm.
In Ironman, there is a special needs, so I grab them while riding and put it in my bag and ride. I mean, I know if every course, most of the time I ride is 5 hours to 5:15. So 5 bottles is pretty good enough for me.
Right.
The 3 bottles are already there on my bike when I started. The 30 seconds to 40 seconds on the transition not going to stop me. So
Right.
I picked that 5 nutrition bar. I mean, of course, I do pick something on the nutrition course, that is Coke.
Okay.
In the last, before finishing the bike course, I grab the Coke and I drink.
Uh-huh.
There were nutrition blunders too happen in the courses. So I always have something backup that is the Coke I always worked for me.
Okay.
So the way I do things is, I know what I'm going to race with and what other things can happen. So 6 weeks before my race, I start getting all my nutrition into place. I do the same simulation every weekend. There is no changes in it.
Okay.
And I also keep Coke while running and keep drinking it for the run simulation, so that I don't need to get shock to my system while racing. I mean, on the Ironman days.
Yeah, because that is available and that is something that you can train with as well. Yeah.
Right.
So what you said about 300 calories per hour on the bike. So what about swim and run?
Swim, I don't take anything, right? I mean,
Yeah.
swimming, it's only 1 hour. So the way it works for me is whatever I eat and drink before swim is pretty much packed very well.
Yeah.
And the day before the race, I start fueling very well. 4 hours before the race, I eat pretty much really well too, like about half a cup to 1 cup of oatmeal I eat every race that I go in. And 30 minutes before race starts, I take about 8 ounces to 12 ounces of sugar drink, that my custom drink, along with me, and I keep sipping like 30 minutes before the race starts. And when gun goes on, that's it. Nutrition is all done at this time. I just want to see that nothing comes out.
Yeah.
So it worked pretty well for me, this routine. I stick to the same routine without changing much. So the swim gets over within an hour, 10 minutes,
right,
and then come back. And I'll have a small transition bag with a sugar syrup drink kept in. I drink that and get on the bike. And I mean, now I put something that I lost while swim.
Right.
So start riding the bike and keep drinking whatever is there on the bar in the bottles now.
Right. And after the five bottles are over on the bike, and you get into the transition for run. So how do you handle the run nutrition?
Run is all course nutrition. There is nothing different. I know run course has a Coke. I pretty much trained with it.
Okay.
I grab every kilometer or every mile they have a drink. I grab, drink. Okay. I don't skip anything, any transition. Say sometimes you may need to keep your own salt. Sometimes you don't need to. But in this case, I don't carry anything while run. For me, going for a run without having anything in my hand is much better than carrying something on my hips or whatever it is. It's too much.
Okay.
I want to be as light as possible while running.
All right. Nice. So that's sounds like nutrition is more or less dialed in for you in terms of Ironman distance
Right.
racing. So coming to like weight training, do you do any weight training for in terms of preparing for?
Mm. I should say I don't. I mean, given the amount of time that I have for a training,
Yeah.
I should be spending some, but I'm not.
Okay.
I don't do weight trainings.
Okay. That's fair
I
enough.
haven't done a weight training like for the last 6 years now.
Okay. Yeah, because you mentioned around 2013 you did a bit of weight training and stuff.
Right.
That's
I used to do some weight training
yeah.
and some plyometrics and things like that.
Yeah.
But now the time is very limited. Everything is focused on the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if I get a chance to do a ride, that is and that is the valuable time for me than doing things.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't. I mean, I don't have time to go to the gym, but I'm coming into that age group where I have to start thinking about going to the gym and keep my muscles not breaking up.
Yeah.
So probably this year or next year, I'll start picking up, putting on some weight routines in my training,
Yeah.
but not as much as I was not doing before.
Right. So maybe a day or two of including them.
Right.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, I do the same thing. I also tell the same to my athletes that keep it really, really light. It's not going to make any faster or so. I mean, make it build up your efficiency or something. It just prevents you from breaking. That's all.
Yeah.
It's a good routine to have it if you have a time. If you don't have a time, you just can do it. I mean, I used to do yoga up to 2 weeks ago. Now I stopped it. And yoga alone, my own body weight does a much better routine for me than focusing on
Ah,
the gym work.
that's a very good point, right? So
Yeah,
you it's not like you are not doing anything apart from swim, bike, run. You are
no, no, no.
you are doing a bit of yoga, which kind of takes care of your flexibility and a bit of strength,
Exactly.
right? So
Right.
yeah, that's a good point to take away.
Yeah, I mean, to me, for me personally, yoga alone, like there are 2 to 3 ways of divide it. Someday you can do just pure flexibility one. Someday, pure body weight strength training. Like for example, Navilasana or handstanding, head standing, all those things are pretty much are based on my body weight training,
Yeah,
which will help me.
yeah.
But there are flexibility days which I do like cobra stands and all those kind of. I mean, I'm giving an example what I do
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
This will help me keeping my routine in place.
Yeah.
Other than that, I focus on doing some drills, whatever, whenever is possible. Like for me, a lot of cross training is doing work at home sometimes.
Yes, yes, yes. So all these hobbies of gardening and baking.
Yeah,
Did
it is. It's getting better. I streamlined again. All this came one after the other too,
right.
because if one goes down, always it sets a new tone and line for something else. So I said my stomach was not in place. Antibiotics and other things and all they started giving me because I was so aggressive to treat things, and I thought, let me work on the nutrition. What's going on? Let me do a few changes. That's how I picked up the other hobbies, doing bread baking. Mm,
Sourdough bread and all that.
yeah.
Oh,
And another thing I did not tell you, but on the race course, I take my own cakes too. Bread. I mean, like my pancakes. Instead of making peanut butter sandwich or whatever it is, I bake like a idli or something like that. I put it
okay.
into my small bags
Hmm.
and carry and eat it. Something solid food, not more than 100 to 250 calories, just
Okay.
to keep it something in my stomach.
When do you eat them?
I eat right in the middle, about after an hour or 2.5 hours.
Okay.
I just take a one bite and keep it in my mouth so that I have something in solid in my stomach.
On the
But
back.
every time I take something, I won't eat anything full. I
Okay.
always bring it back with me.
Okay.
So it will be not more than 150 calories just to have some solid.
Okay. On the bike.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So, segueing into that hobbies, what are all the hobbies that you have now?
My main hobby right now is going something like a professional baking.
Okay.
So I'm working on going a professional baking. Uh, Other than my professional computer science engineering one, I want
Yeah.
to do a professional baking focused on only fermentation. That
Okay.
is natural fermentation. I don't want to go into anything else. Uh, Fermenting is the key, and I want to start a project called Sour.
Yeah.
Uh, it's like flour and sour is what I'm going to start.
Nice.
And of course, other than that, I want to have my own beehives farming.
All right. Nice. And
Anything that, yeah.
the beehives. When did you pick that up?
It was last year when I started officially, but
Okay.
I had for some reason, weird reason, I don't know why it started. I saw that some of my friends posting it. 2016 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I always wanted to have it, and I also bought a bee book to read it.
Yeah.
I never went through it at all. And all of a sudden, last year, I mean, my triathlon thing is coming down. I want to pick something else to all that free time. I
Right.
picked up this hobby. Now I started doing beekeeping also.
And home gardening as well.
Home gardening is always there, but I never posted it before. But I do some things this year
Okay.
because it's COVID. I had a
Okay.
lot of time to do things, reading,
Right.
whatever, not doing. So
Okay.
I'm happy that I'm started doing this now.
Okay. Nice. So these kind of keep you uh, occupied. Whatever time you gained out of lack of too much training, you are
Right.
using them with all these other things. But
Uh,
how do you um, kind of organize your day with, say, with work as well as your training and stuff?
uh, See, I've been working from home all the time.
Okay.
Mm, so my travel time and driving time pretty limited. That has always given me advantage in my training, I believe. And the way I structure is it depends. Everything is first priority is work and home, and then comes my training because um, otherwise I can't spend time on training
Yeah.
if I don't put this there for the year.
Yeah.
So the way I put things is my team is in Romania now. Before that, it was in California. I had a pretty good way of finishing off my routines in the morning and focusing on my work on the later. But now it's a different. So I start my work pretty early, like 7:30, 7:30 a day. And then I take a break around 12 o'clock lunch hours, go for a I don't have a big ride during the week, so 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes. I'm focusing on it. Finished my structured training back then, and then around 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, or get off the work. And if I have any run or another activities to do it, I'll do it. And if not, I do some drills or whatever it is. Now I'm picking up some other cross bike stuff like that. I do those things, and then cook supper 5:30 or 6 o'clock, start cooking, and get back to normal life and spend some time reading and things like that, or watch any Netflix program if I like it.
Yeah.
Pretty much I'll be either reading and do watching TV. So when I was doing nutrition program, I focused completely on that. I'm putting that experience a little bit in my cooking habits, what
Uh-huh.
I should be doing and how I should be going on.
Okay.
And at the same time, I'm reading like bread baking, like what is the science behind it, how I can enhance the flavor, and that kind of things. Now
Okay.
I'm doing.
Okay. Nice. So you coach a few athletes, right? Uh,
Yes.
yeah. So how you, uh, when do you get time to do that?
Um, my coaching pretty much goes day every day. I would say I have set a goal in training in such a way that I don't want to take too many athletes. I want limited athletes whom I can concentrate and focus on, and because I don't have a time to say, hey, I'm gonna come and knock at your door or get up and start training. That kind of time I don't have. I
Right.
want self-motivated athletes. I'm very clear with the athletes what I say to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's you have to gain the responsibility of what you're doing it. That kind of though I pick very much. I interview them. I pick them if they are motivated or not, and I train them. And I used to before send doc files and get a training files from them and analyze it. But last 1 year, it is not happening because some of the athletes are not so disciplined or lazy about sending the files. So I thought I would go online, like using today's plan, something like that, and they let them automatically push the file. So I mean, I don't want to be like going and checking their files every single day. It's not going to work because of the timing.
Yeah.
Pretty much they'll have a recovery coming into the week and things like that. And every once in 2 days or once in a day, I take a glimpse of it, what everybody is doing, and understand what they are doing, how they are pursuing their training. Are they consistent or not consistent? I analyze their workout
Mhm.
once in a day or once in 2 days. And then end of the week, I put everyone's read how they approach their training, where they're standing, whether they accomplished their goals or not. And from there, I'll go whether I have to put them in the back or whether I should put them into the front. I decide those kind of things in the last minute. Like every Sunday morning, that's what I do. I
Uh,
get up.
What do you mean, put them in the back or front?
When I say put them in the back, like some people, what they do is take a week break completely, like running or something like that. Some
Okay.
people are so focused on I mean, I have a pretty hard time with this some of these athletes that they don't take it things seriously about the consistency work. What happens is I mean, if they not accomplish 2 to 3 runs in a week, that is 40% of the or 30% of their run, that going to not going to help me to go forward. It's always have to either keep them in the same place or go back in one
Right.
step behind.
Mm.
That kind of things, decisions I have to take because
Okay.
based on the philosophy that I have in the studies is that if they don't do a training for 2 hours, the adaptation of the muscles is not going to happen. There is no point in them, like 2 weeks, they did not train the same routine to keep them in that place. Rather, I should take them one step behind and ask them to adapt to the muscles that they want to do it and then forward it again.
Yeah.
So I can't put them into the same place. I pay attention for it will be like this. If they don't repeat, if they don't do any activities for 1 week, I try to ask them to repeat it. If they don't repeat it, again, I'll take 1 more week and see where they stand. So that is almost giving up like 3 to 4% of their VO2, which means that their zones are coming down now, slowly tapering down. The muscle adaptation did not happen. The metabolic rates are coming down. When the metabolic rates are coming down, chances of getting injury is high because I can't put them into elevated training.
Higher
So
work.
I have to step back one step and ask them to prepare for it or make them a drills or do the things and then put them back into the place where they want to be.
Yeah.
So that is what one step back means.
Okay. Got it. So it looks like a pretty good coaching philosophy there, and so you work with you yourself are a working athlete, and you work with working athletes from maybe all walks of life, right? So
Right.
what are the few tips you would give to working athletes?
Oh, balance.
Balance.
Uh, Try to balance, and you do not have to pick up things that is discouraging you.
Hmm.
Keep things really simple and keep it small, and they will I mean, I always say them only one thing: connecting the dots. Approach it very small, every little things, like modularize it, and then put it all together and execute it one day. I mean, if you if you're a working athlete and your goals is like doing Ironman, think what is the small, divide that Ironman thing into the small modules and see what it keeps you motivated, what you can do things, and divide it into such a way that it will feed you for that kind of work to do it. Don't go behind. If you have a if you have only 5 hours training in a week, you don't have to target Ironman race, but you can always do something different. The same triathlon routine, like you can focus it for a sprint triathlon or a half Ironman distance. We can still do it, but
Right.
pick it small
Yeah.
and try to balance it out. Give me your time. I'll plan for you based on that. And you have your lifestyle. Whatever the lifestyle is, we can work it out with the training. Only thing is you have to be consistent.
Yeah. Okay. So
Again, like I say, things are, you have to keep your goals really, really practical to achieve the bigger things.
right.
And balance is the key.
Yeah.
Uh, you don't want to disappoint your family members. You don't want to disappoint your own training.
Yeah.
So pick the sweet spot in it, and everyone will be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So keeping having very realistic goals, keeping things sustainable, taking your life, other factors of life, family, work, and other things that you have to do
Mhm.
into perspective, and having the goals so that you can work towards them, with a
Right,
reasonable
right.
level of consistency.
Yeah, I mean, every working athletes have to prioritize things.
Right.
What is, I mean, what is that really important for you,
Mhm.
and how can you put things, these priorities in your day-to-day life? Like say, you have 9 o'clock work, but at the same time you have a family members who are also, like, you have a kids that they want to go to school around 8 o'clock or or 9 o'clock. You have to prepare for them. If you are preparing for them, you have to sacrifice some of the things, like going to bed early, getting up around 5 o'clock, finishing off your routine like 6 to 7, whatever it is, and getting prepared for the kids and send them to the school. All those things you have to plan, and
Right.
you have to stick to it. If you don't stick to it, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of things you have to sacrifice, and you have to be ready for it.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
that's the way to approach it. There is no way. Otherwise, you will solve the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Thanks a lot, Subbu. These have been great insights into your own progression, your own training, be it nutrition and everything. And also great tips at the end to working athletes. Thanks a lot. It's been great having you on the show.
Thank you, Venki. It's an honor to work with you and discuss about these things. It's like bringing back my memories. It's pretty good. Always nice to connect with you and discuss about these things. Keep in touch.
Thank you.